Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
We're back with another episode of Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. First episode, we were like, that's it. Okay. Second episode, it was heroin. I got so addicted. It was so good. Oh my God, it was so good.
It's been very hard to be like, no, Mike, no, you can't watch it. We need to do it.
I want to binge it so bad.
How much do you hate Bogz right now? Because he's binged it
so much. Because his work schedule and all that, he's not going to be able to do the rest of the watch-alongs with us. So he's already finished the whole show, and he was just like, guys, it's so good. And I'm seeing all the other channels are putting up because they can all afford to do it all at once. So because for them it's their job, so they got to binge the whole thing, and I'm just sitting here just like, this one at a time shit is killing me. If for no other reason, it's just a statement to how good this is. So
as excited. Let's not wait anymore.
Yeah, no. Okay, we're gonna watch episode 3 right now. It's called Choices, and based on the thumbnail, we're getting some Mace Windu action in this one.
I'm always here for purple lightsaber. It's my favorite color.
You know, I hate the color yellow, but I love it for a lightsaber. I don't know why. Still a shorter intro than Andor. Love the show. Intro's too long. Same shit from last one.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we're picking up where we left off. Nope.
You've been studying that tablet for a long time. Are the answers you need over Master Katri's death in that file?
He's got a beard now.
Why are you concerning yourself with these questions? The council gave us our instructions.
To return Master Katri's body.
He doesn't trust the council.
So she can have a proper burial. But something more should be done.
I mean, I like both those answers.
Council, we cannot involve ourselves in local political skirmishes.
Oh, this is
unless requested by the Jedi High Council.
This is pre-council Mace Windu.
My friend.
Yeah.
Your devotion to rules is sometimes inspiring and sometimes maddening.
And that's probably why Qui-Gon too himself questions the Jedi Council, is because of Dooku.
A lot of nature versus nurture there.
And this is probably what's getting Dooku to fall out of the Jedi Council, and the Senate is just all these rules instead of just actually helping people.
I think we're gonna see Dooku leave in this. Because we get 3 episodes with him, and this is number 2. I think we're gonna see him leave in the 3rd episode.
Welcome to Raxus Secundus.
I am Jedi Master Windu, and this is Master Dooku. We are here to see Senator Larrick.
We are saddened by what happened to Master Katri. She was well respected and will be missed. I will take you to Senator Larrick.
Did they say what planet this is?
If they did, I was not listening. Somebody in the comments yell at us.
Why would you choose to go without a security detail?
Because I hope for peace on Raxus, and I'm willing to do anything for it. I confided as much to Master Katri, and she
Although hearing rebels be said with disdain,
she paid for it.
Typically only hear that from the
Senator,
Empire.
We've taken enough of your time.
It's that word.
Before we do that, I'd like to see where you and Katri went to meet this informer.
To go back there and relive the incident would be heartbreaking.
I can show you where this tragic incident happened.
He did it.
He's hiding something, and Dooku knows it.
Let us be on our way.
Suspect.
Blue is sus. Blue is sus.
Would you want Katri to leave without finding out what happened to you?
I would want her to
So
follow.
let's take it back to the council. Let's actually do something about it.
They're both right, is the thing.
Anakin would 100% be like, let's do something about it.
1000%. Anakin in this version of Dooku would have been best of buds.
Yeah, 100%. That's why, too, I've seen like people talk about like what would have happened if Anakin was really trained by Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have never turned.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Obi-Wan is way more like Mace Windu in the following the rules, where Qui-Gon is more like Dooku and more like Anakin.
Yeah.
But with a little bit more kindness in his heart.
Yeah. He knows something is just not right about this.
Yeah.
How many attackers were there, Senator?
It happened so fast. I couldn't give you an exact number.
Suspect.
Firing upon her immediately.
From what I can remember, it was terrifying.
Not a mark on the ship.
If Master Catry were fired upon here, why are there blast marks on your ship? No damage?
Judging from your description, someone fired from the direction of the ship.
For a Jedi to succumb to a surprise attack is rare. Unless that attack is from someone one would trust, like you.
Oh,
Have the truth.
Dooku.
Stand down.
I mean, I don't blame Dooku. He's an action man.
Oh, the guards killed her.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
You know what? I appreciate you, Star Wars, for still giving a twist, even though you showed us how suspect he was.
Right? But why did he try to cover it up? That's the question.
Yeah. Probably because they would have killed him, like they just did.
Oof. That won't be the last time Dooku does, or Windu does something like that.
Tell us
You
your
can see
reason for killing
it's
Master
affecting
Catry.
Windu, but it's not affecting
We are part
Dooku.
of a group who
He's
learned
like,
Larry
that's what
was
you
using
get.
his ascendancy to become rich at the expense of our people and planet. He was willing to bleed Raxus dry, luring off world companies to come in and industrialize the land. He was selling off our planet, piece by piece, all from his comfortable residence on faraway Coruscant.
Because even the bad guys have a motive that comes from good.
Because we were going to force,
Especially in the world of
to forth
Star
our own
Wars.
agenda
Mhm.
at the next Senate hearing.
Nothing is black and white.
Why didn't you take this to the proper authorities? Katri was a keeper of the peace.
Jedi are lapdogs of the Senate. Their bidding always comes first.
Yeah, how'd that work out for
The
you?
galaxy. Jedi claim peace, but mostly keep law and order for the rich and powerful.
I mean,
He's not wrong, but that's also not what happened
She
here.
would have listened.
true.
Because if that
But-
were true, they wouldn't have discovered all this. They would have just let it
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and from a certain point of view,
Boo.
he's true. It's true, but
Your ideology,
from another point of view, not exactly.
I don't condone your methods, but you have every right to protect your planet. Make sure your people don't lose heart and evolve so much. It is the only way you will truly have victory. I say that for all of us.
Oh man. See, like, this is everything about Dooku's backstory I wanted, like, for years. That we never got.
Because you have that moment with Dooku and Obi-Wan in, I believe it's Attack of the Clones.
They'll be happy to know
And
that we solved
you
Master
kind of like,
Catry's
ooh,
murder.
Dooku's kind of
Will
right.
they be happy?
Now let me ask you one thing.
Proceed.
Do you think the Jedi will truly keep peace if they continue to take everything the Senate says as law?
Luckily, we are guided by our council.
Bars.
Politics, nor ego.
False.
Yeah.
It's just like whenever you see, oh, this is an apolitical council or there's no such thing.
Once again, it's validating everything Luke said in The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm sure Bogz.
I'm sure everyone's mad that I just said that, but change my mind.
Hey, I am a Last Jedi lover,
Master Katri was
so
patient with younglings and Jedi.
Kiadi Mundi.
I am told you will be presented with Master Catri's council seats.
oh, so this is how
I
Windu
will.
gets on the council.
Is this something you knew was happening before we left for Raxus?
I was as surprised as you are now.
Okay.
Dooku, you and I both were together when the mission was assigned. I stuck to the mission.
You can see how Dooku doesn't believe him.
Oh,
I will speak to the council on your
I think Mace threw him under the
How
bus.
kind of you.
Probably. Well, Base is always that person that follows the rule. It's like he's
Yeah.
just lawful good to a T.
To a fault.
To a fault, yeah.
Yeah. But I also feel like because Dooku said that he had no problem telling them what he did, so he didn't
Yeah.
throw him under the bus, but
Yeah.
man,
And then we're like Dooku goes from being chaotic good to like chaotic neutral to then I would still say he's chaotic neutral even though he becomes a bad guy. And then Anakin goes from chaotic good to chaotic neutral to chaotic evil. And then you have Qui-Gon who is always just chaotic good.
he was just chaotic. This is an episode that, like, man, this really, I mean, case in point, I mean, we talked over the whole damn thing. I'm sure everyone's gonna be mad about that, but like there was
It
so
needs to be a
much.
reaction, guys.
That's the whole point. I know. Like, sorry guys, that's what we're supposed to. If you want to watch it, go watch it on your own. Sorry. But like again, that lends a lot to these are the elements of Dooku's character that I've been missing. And I know there's probably stuff in the comics and the books. I don't have time to I'm sorry guys, I don't have time to read.
Mike doesn't know how.
Rude. I love to read. I used to read Star Wars books all the time. It's just it's impossible to keep up nowadays. There's so much else going on. But like, it's in terms of like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It's like I was hoping we would get to know more about him and like why, like what makes Dooku so special. What made him one of the? I think it's like there's a number. There's like a certain number of like the only members to ever leave the Order voluntarily.
Yeah.
And like, what is Dooku's story? What makes him so special? And now we're really finding out. And it makes Count Dooku a far more interesting character.
Yeah.
Than he was prior to this. Because because Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie. Like I will take Rise of Skywalker over Attack of the Clones.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think Attack of the Clones has one of the worst screenplays in a Star Wars movie.
It was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw, and so it holds a special place in my heart.
No,
and
fair.
I have seen it multiple times, and I know its faults. I accept its faults. I still love it. I have only ever seen Rise of Skywalker once, and that was one too many times.
I will take Rise of Skywalker over Attack of the Clones any day. We'll debate about this on another time, but like this stuff like this episode they help with that for me because now Count Dooku, who in Attack of the Clones was just kind of there, and we're supposed to act like
Let's get that line though.
He does get that line, but like from the moment the movie starts, it's just something Count Dooku, and I'm like, who's Count Dooku? Why am I supposed to know who this person is all of a sudden? And he was Qui-Gon's master, and he left the Jedi Order. Oh, this is all so much more interesting than anything else happening in this movie, and yet I'm not getting to see or learn any of it. Getting to see it now, I'm like, now I'm starting to actually give a shit about Count Dooku.
Oh, I've always given a shit about Count Dooku.
I've never given a shit about him.
And that's what he's one of the coolest characters. Like
He's
him and Qui-Gon, like when I said that, like the last episode, like Qui-Gon's one of my favorite Jedis. Like I meant it because like him and Qui-Gon are so interesting to me. And you do just like with Clone Wars, it makes the prequel trilogy so much better. And it makes, and probably too because I've seen all of Clone Wars and all the animation stuff. Like I am a child of the prequels. Like Attack of the Clones was the first Star Wars movie I watched, so like I love those movies. Wholehandedly, the original trilogy is the best trilogy, and Empire is my favorite movie, which I know is a super basic answer, but it's the middle movies. Like Empire, Attack of the Clones, and Last Jedi, like are my favorite of each.
I'm not that cut and dry. Like of the original trilogy, it's Empire, which it's basic, but I don't care. It's a great movie. Of the prequels, it's Revenge of the Sith, and of the sequels, it's.
I mean, Revenge of the Sith is way better than Attack of the Clones, but again,
Revenge of the Sith is a lot better than people give it credit for. But anyway, this episode, great continued exploration of Dooku's fall. Exploration to more into Mace Windu's character. What I really appreciate, something I picked up on, is when he, deflects and defensively kills the guard at the end.
I'm sure he didn't tell the council.
Probably not. And he has that look on his face. It was very reminiscent of the same look he has on his face in Attack of the Clones when he kills Jango Fett. Because they hold on his face for a while, and you can tell he's like, he is not someone who enjoys killing.
No. And I even said it there where I was just like, Mace regrets this.
Mm-hmm.
Count Dooku does not. Count Dooku is one of those. Count Dooku would have been a great Targaryen because he is of the milk of fuck around and find out.
Yes.
Like,
Dooku is very much an eye for an eye type personality.
Yeah. And he very much too, and you saw it in the last episode, and you saw it here, and you saw it too when he spoke with Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones. He very much believes he's in the right. He very much wants to do right by people, and he has a line that he thinks the Jedi cross by following their rules. And it's funny to then, I forget where it was, where someone was just like, oh, it's easy to draw, it's easy to have morals and not step over a line when you're the one who's drawing the line. And the Jedi Council, their line is follow the laws that are in our rules, and if you don't follow them, then you're crossing the line. And to Count Dooku, if you are not helping these people and not doing things morally correct, then you're crossing a line. And it's so interesting to see that these two people who are technically correct from a certain point of view, like, are crossing each other's lines here. And I love too that Dooku's like, I'll tell him. I don't care. Yeah. Like, he's very, because I'm in the right, and he fully believes that he's in the right. Where Mace is so much of that, like, rule follower guy, and that's what gets him. And I think too, even though Mace said that he didn't know he was going to get the seat, and I believe Mace when he said that, I don't think Dooku does. Dooku's like, no, you are just as corrupt as these senators.
I don't believe Mace. I think he knew.
I believe Mace, but I think Dooku doesn't.
Oh, for sure, Dooku doesn't. For sure, Dooku doesn't. I don't totally believe Mace because and as we'll see in the prequels, Mace is not above, like a lot of the council, and we see this in the Clone Wars too, the Clone Wars series. He is not above hiding things for the sake of not having an argument.
And he and a lot of these council members too, which are not above calling someone out to further advance themselves. And because they're like, oh, I'm protecting the Jedi Order, but to the people that you're getting in trouble, like, really not. And you're causing more problems than would probably be, but you don't have the foresight to think that because you're like, these are the rules, them's the rules.
Yeah.
And it really does show you so much of, and we're talking about lines here from the movie, when you have Luke in The Last Jedi talking about how all this corruption and evil happened when the Jedis were in power in Coruscant. And so it is one of those, when you have such stringent rules on stuff and don't allow for any wiggle room and any gray area, which is one of the biggest issues with the Jedi Council, and then it allows for people like Anakin, people like Dooku, even people like Qui-Gon, who ultimately stayed with the Jedi, but like he was not fully trusting of the Jedi Council. Kind of people like Ahsoka, who left the Jedi Council too, go, nah, this ain't for me.
Well, there's even a line in The Phantom Menace that, Obi-Wan, when they say they're not going to train Anakin, and Qui-Gon's like, well, fine, I'll take him as a Padawan. Make Obi-Wan a knight, and I'll just take him as a Padawan. And Obi-Wan says to him, he's like, if you would just, it tells Qui-Gon basically, like, if you would just shut the hell up once in a while, Master, you would be sitting on the council right now if you would just go with the flow a little bit more. And that's in that moment Qui-Gon tells him, he's like, you still have a little bit more to learn. If you think that that's the big issue here.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think, we see it with what happens with Anakin. That's ultimately what leads to the downfall of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And with Dooku and Mace in particular in this episode, you can see where Mace is all about duty, which there is nothing like, yes, that is your duty. You are doing your job the way that you were told to do it. Yes, you have that high ground. Haha. But Dooku is following his heart, which from a moralistic standpoint is also the high ground. Haha.
Yeah.
How many high ground jokes can I make in one sentence?
I made a bunch of a certain point of view.
Boo. So where we get into the muddiness of it all, though, is just the fact that he's leading with his heart is already a violation as far as the Jedi are concerned.
Yeah.
They're very Vulcan in that way. Sorry, Star Wars.
No
fans.
attachments.
It's a little no attachments. Think with logic, go with the Force, And again, to go back to The Last Jedi, Luke says, like, ultimately what brings the Jedi Order down is their own vanity and their own belief that their way was the only way to do things. And it was that made them arrogant and turn a blind eye to things that allowed Sidious to come to power.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more seeds of that now. I almost feel like a lot of the new canon in Star Wars is meant to, it's almost like it's trying to say, hey guys, the Jedi aren't all that.
Right.
like they're cool.
Except for the anime. Their anime was like, Jedi's fucking cool.
Yeah. An umbrella that turns into like a 10-bladed spinning lightsaber. That is objectively awesome. But yeah, it's like
also not canon though.
Which breaks my heart, but also I get it. That's fine. But it is that exploration of ideas of, again, continuing with a lot of the things that did work for The Last Jedi, which is that idea of like, guys, the Jedi are not infallible. They are not always right. Yes, laser swords, they're awesome. The
heroes are not perfect.
Heroes are not perfect. That's one of the reasons why I like Man of Steel so much, because I get a Superman that has room for development as a character. He's not just the big blue Boy Scout. That's what Shazam is for. So,
and I think too, how many times in stories do they say the people who are meant to lead are the ones who don't want it? So Qui-Gon should have been on the council. He would have been great on the council. He would have been a great voice for the council. He didn't want it, and they didn't see value in that. And imagine if he was there, how much better it could be. Think of it too, like Game of Thrones, Jon Snow. He doesn't want to be king, but it gets thrust upon him.
Yeah.
You think of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang doesn't want to be the Avatar, but he has to.
He just wants to eat egg custard cups and ride Appa. That's all he wants to do. And float around in his little air ball, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's adorable, and make out with Katara.
I mean, who doesn't?
She's a cartoon character. I'm good, and also a child. So
Okay, when that show came out, I was also her age. I was Aang's age.
Full-blown adult. So.
No, when that show came out, I was 12 years old.
Yeah,
so.
no, I was a full-blown adult when that show came on. But anyway,
you're not that much older than me.
This episode we are so off the rails today. Oh my god. This is what happens when you watch Wendell and Wild. It makes you weird.
Hey, in the chat, is Katara hot? Yes or no? Let us know in the chat.
Oh, don't ask the internet that. Don't ask the internet that, because you know what they're gonna say. Of course, it's the internet. The internet thinks that Pete Davidson is hot. I still haven't figured that one out, but I don't know. Yeah, make that one make sense. Seriously. But so am I, but whoop-de-doo. A
lot of women will sometimes just be like, oh, everything else doesn't matter because he's tall. I don't find Pete Davidson hot, but that is a lot of times that's all that it needs. Be like, he's tall.
It ain't working for me. So anyway, I love this show. I want to binge it so bad, and it is absolute torture that I can't, because we're doing these kind of one at a time to fit in with everything else we're doing, which we have
so much worth it.
It does, because I'm so ready for it. But make sure, guys, we have so many videos up right now. Like please go check them out, whether it's our Harley Quinn reaction, our House of the Dragon reviews. If you're finally, because I know a lot of people were waiting for the show to be done to go binge it. So if you were binging it, you want to go back and watch our reviews with Vander, go do that. Our Werewolf by Night reaction is up. We've got this show,
Cabinet of Curiosity.
Curiosity's done. We just dropped the first one. We're going to record and put the second one up here sometime this week. Look for those every Saturday. So it's just, a lot of good stuff. So check out everything we've got. And as we continue to go through this show and Andor and everything else we have coming down the line, so much of it. So please go check all of it out. Let us know in the comments just how off base we are with everything today. Because I'm sure.
Or how much you agree with us.
Would you agree with us? Because that's really the only correct option.
Tell us, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? What is your least favorite Star Wars movie? How do you feel about the sequel trilogy?
And how do you feel about Attack of the Clones? There is a correct answer here, folks. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you guys again next time on Off the Wall. Bye. We're so stupid.